everyone. Waiting for a few more people to jump on the call, so we will get started with Back to the Future, the webinar, in just a few minutes. Okay, we are ready to get started. Welcome once again to Back to the Future, the webinar. On deck for today is a discussion with the Nationwide Displays team of experts about getting back to the show floor and hybrid events. Before we get started, a couple of quick housekeeping items. All attendees are in listen-only mode for today's presentation. We will be having a Q&A session at the end of the presentations, so if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them into the text chat and someone from our team will be sure to answer. In addition, this session is being recorded for future playback. You'll be able to access it right from the event space following today's session. And without further ado, I am so pleased to introduce our first speaker today, Steve Griffith, President of Nationwide Displays. Steve?
Thanks, Diane. Welcome, everybody. My name is Steve Griffith, and I'm the President of Nationwide Displays. And we appreciate you taking time to participate in our webinar covering Back to the Future, what to expect when we do hit the show floor. There's been a lot of questions out there, and I've had the opportunity, the first time in about 17 months for that opportunity, to visit a show about 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis. It was the Sweets and Snacks Show, which is usually held in Chicago, but it was moved to Indianapolis this year. And I was quite surprised that the footprint of the show was about 3/4 of what it normally is. It was interesting to see that there were exhibits as large as 2-story exhibits down to end lines, and there were some smaller footprints. But overall, it seemed like a traditional show. Some of the questions people have asked us, what will we see at the show? What will some of the rules and regulations be like? And that's what we hope to cover in our webinar today. So my team and I are pleased to present this information to you, to hold questions that you may have. And there might be a few questions or topics that we didn't touch on, and we will have a Q&A at the end of this session to allow you to bring them up there. The other subject is, how will hybrid events work with traditional face-to-face? Because we do see that being as a growing consideration for future events. So those are some areas that we will touch on to see how they will collaborate together. But the one final note I would like to mention is it's the collaboration of all efforts, from the trades to the show decorator, to the clients, to the exhibit house and the different vendors. We're all excited to get back, but it will be important that if we're all aware of what's to expect, I think we can make a more smooth transition in getting back to the shows and events. And we hope that this does give you some good information for when you do get back to your first show. So with that, I'm going to pass it to my team. We're very excited on this presentation, and we hope you do enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Up next, we'll hear from Nationwide Displays Vice President of Sales, Matt Johnson, and Account Manager, Karen Johnson.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. My name is Matt Johnson. I'm the Vice President of Business Development here at Nationwide Displays.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen Johnson, Senior Account Manager at Nationwide Displays. Matt and I are glad you joined us. We're going to have a little chat about returning to live trade show events.
Excellent, thanks Karen. So Companies right now are falling into one of two categories. You're either wanting to get back to in-person events in some form, or you just aren't ready to do so yet. So this discussion is going to focus more on if you are ready to get back to in-person events. So if you are, in order to help sort of frame which direction you want to go, we have some questions you can ask yourself. First one, what are your goals for exhibiting this year? Are you looking to meet face-to-face again? Are you looking to gather more leads than you had in the past? Another question, what type of statement do you want to make with your return to exhibiting? Are you looking to just test the waters slowly, see what's out there, see what shows are like now that they're coming back after such a long layup? Or are you looking to make a big splash? So once the decision is made to exhibit, you really have four options. You can either...
Yeah, Matt, and I think the best approach for going through those options is to make sure you're reaching out to us. Connect with your account manager so that we can really start talking through all of this with you right up front and help you to find the answers to those questions that Matt just mentioned.
Exactly. So let's talk about the four options. We'll list them first, then we'll go into more detail in each one. So the first one, you can reuse your current exhibit as is. The second one, you can refurb or update your current exhibit. The third one, you can build a complete brand new custom exhibit. Or the last one, you can utilize a custom rental display. So the first one, reuse your current exhibit as is. So obviously this one is going to be the most low risk, the lowest cost re-entry to exhibiting. And Karen, what are you seeing with some of our existing clients with this option?
Some of our clients are looking to just check the temperature of the shows right now, and they want to focus on reconnecting with the customers and buyers who they haven't been able to meet with face-to-face in over a year. So they want to have that presence at the show, but they're not quite ready to make the investment, or their focus just isn't on making the investment. And like I said, they just want to get out there and see how everything is at the shows before they do invest in changes or a new booth.
Exactly. Okay, and the second option, to update or refurb your current exhibit. This one also is a good financial decision because in theory you're going to use fewer dollars than building something brand new or renting something brand new, but it will still give you the ability to show up slightly different than you had in the past. And also, you don't need to update or refurb much in order to have a different presence at the show. Something as simple as just changing the graphics or color scheme for your booth can have a big impact. What are you seeing, Karen?
I agree. You mentioned new graphics. That's always a great way to refresh a booth. Sometimes adding lighting in areas where you didn't previously have lighting is another great way to refresh and draw more attention to your booth. Something else that some of our clients are doing is reconfiguring or downsizing. We have one client who typically uses a 10 by 40 custom exhibit at the shows, and for right now they're going with a 10 by 20 to just kind of dip their toes in, get their presence on the floor, but not quite with as big of a splash as they usually do. We have another client who has a beautiful classic booth with very dark, rich woods, and they've recently rebranded. So we're refurbishing all of their existing elements, bringing a lot of light, bright colors, some gold accents, new bright colored graphics. So their existing custom booth works so well for them at the show from a functional and aesthetic perspective, but they just needed to update it. So that's what we're doing for them.
Awesome. So let's jump ahead to the next one. You could build a new custom exhibit, and for those of you who've gone through the process, you know what a great feeling it is to show up at the show with something brand new. It's exactly the way you want. One example how this worked in our favor for a new custom exhibit, a prospect we had talked to when they were pre-pandemic, when we were last speaking about what to do, they really were just looking to sort of refresh their booth. They weren't looking to do something new. So we were talking about that. All of a sudden, the pandemic hits. Everything was shut down for quite a while. So when we get back to talking about what they want to do, they actually are looking to build a new booth. So what the pandemic actually did for them was help reposition their intent at the show, and now they're looking to build something completely new. So it can also go in that direction too, versus where some people are looking to again just test the waters and do something a little bit more low key.
That's exciting. Yeah, you mentioned the pandemic really gave a lot of companies the opportunity to reinvent themselves and focus on their marketing and their branding. So in the last 15, 16 months, people have had that time to think about how they've been operating at shows in the past and moving forward with a fresh start. Their business models may even have changed drastically over this time, and now they're getting this chance to reach out, have us build them a new booth, design it with their new branding or their current needs in mind, and really make that big splash. People are also taking advantage of tax code section 179, which allows them to fully depreciate a new exhibit as equipment for this year, which is also great benefit from the tax standpoint.
Exactly. So it's a good segue to also move into our final category, utilizing a custom rental exhibit. So where we think this is a great benefit to a lot of clients and potential clients is you want to get back to exhibiting at the show. You want to do something different you've done in the past, but you don't want to, at this time, invest the money in purchasing something new. So what we can do for the way we normally work with custom rentals is we use the same process as doing a brand new build, where we'll meet with you, we'll talk about all your needs, your requirements, what you want the booth to look like, and then we come up with a solution that looks like a custom exhibit, but it's made out of rental components, more than likely mixed with some custom elements. So we create a booth that's all about your brand, it's specific to what you want, and it's something you can be excited about showing up in. And again, you don't have to spend the big dollars to purchase and own something. It can be something you're renting just for the show.
Right. And it can also be viewed as kind of a practice run, if you will. If somebody is looking to have us design and build a new custom exhibit for them, but their branding is currently still under construction and not quite where it's going to end up at the end. They have us do a rental exhibit so that they're not making the big investment only to have to change it 2 months later after the show. So rental exhibits are also a great option, especially right now where a lot of shows that were previously scheduled earlier in the year have been rescheduled for later in the year, and now we have a lot of clients who are facing overlapping shows and we can't get their custom booth from one to the other if the dates are too close. So they're using a custom exhibit at one show and a custom rental at the other show. And in a lot of those situations, the custom rental ends up looking very much, if not exactly like their custom booth. So it's a really great option.
Exactly. Oh, and the other thing too, we forgot to mention, what we've seen quite a bit too is clients typically go to a specific show with their custom booth, but it's in a bigger format, it's in a bigger booth space. So what they're doing for some of these other shows that have either been rescheduled or it's at the same time, but they're just showing up in a smaller footprint than they have in the past. So again, instead of spending the bigger dollars to build something brand new for these smaller spaces, which probably will only last until they get into next year, we can provide a rental exhibit for the smaller space. Again, you're spending less dollars, you're still getting something custom looking, something exactly how you want it, but it's a better use of your capital at this point.
Right, absolutely. So just to recap those 4 options, we're seeing clients who are reusing their custom booth the way they have been in the recent past. They are reusing that booth and making refurbishments, whether those be with new graphics, reconfiguration, downsizing. Third option is having us design and build a new custom exhibit for you to reinvent yourselves and make that big statement on the show floor, or going with a custom rental exhibit. And no matter which option you are leaning towards or have your mind set on, or you're still not quite sure, just make sure to reach out to us, connect with your account manager. There's been so many changes in the exhibit industry over the past year that we are always here to talk you through it and really walk through all of those options with you so that you can decide what's the best option for you right now, as well as going through all of your exhibit property inventory to make sure we have everything that you're going to need to have a successful show.
Exactly. Perfect. So that concludes our section of the presentation today. So again, as Karen said, if you have any questions, you can reach out to any of us. We'd be happy to assist, and we look forward to talking to you more. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Karen and Matt. Our final speaker today is Joseph Christiana, Creative Director for Nationwide Displays.
Thank you, Diane, and hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really honored to have the opportunity and the chance to talk to you all about this, about our industry. My name is Joe Christiana. I'm the Creative Director for Nationwide Displays. I've been with Steve and the company for about 15 years now. It goes without saying, we've never quite had a year like this past one. And as I think that the feeling is mutual all around, I think that we're all glad that we're moving past it and getting back to the future, as our webinar is called. So, you know, as you've been hearing, we all just cannot wait, and we're so thrilled that we're starting to become busy again with designing and building exhibits, new exhibits, refurbing our clients' exhibits, and we just couldn't be more thrilled to have those that crazy stress that's related to the exhibit industry. You know, you don't know what you got and how much you love it until it's gone for a year, you know. So I just wanted to take a couple of quick minutes at the end of this to kind of add on to what Matt and Karen were saying in relation to, you know, just adding on to the fact of bringing your physical exhibit back to the show floor and what it might look like in terms of integrating a virtual element to that. You know, as many of you know, when COVID hit, just like many other companies out there, we had a real, you know, existential moment to take a look at what we do and what we offer, and really proud of the fact that we're able to become so successful in offering some of the safety products, PPE, partitions, building the temporary hospitals, which was just fantastic. And one of the other pivots that we did immediately was ventured right into virtual exhibits. And you know, what we thought that we could offer, and which we ended up doing pretty successfully, was doing virtual immersive exhibits. And you know, the difference between what a lot of the virtual events were providing to their booths, to the exhibitors, and what we were able to provide from a custom standpoint was that sense of 3 dimensions and immersivity, where you know, I like to, when we explain it, I like to explain it as the difference between going to a show and just getting the show provided pipe and drape versus going to a show with a beautiful custom booth that's you know, hand built and custom tailored to represent the brand experience of a specific company. You know, with that, what we were able to do from a design perspective was one of the silver linings, I guess, that we found from the events that happened last year, in that aesthetically speaking, and then designing these spaces and these experiences was basically the liberating factor of not being bound to show regulations or budgets or even the laws of physics. So in a virtual exhibit, you know, you don't have to think twice about you know, designing in a 30-foot long AV wall, where of course in the real world that comes with a whole host of concerns. You know, from that, we started hearing from our clients some of the you know, the pain points that they were having with the virtual events, And some of our clients had asked us, what if an event looked like the way that you guys are doing the exhibits? And, we jumped right into that as well. Some of our clients had essentially been using their virtual booth as an event space. So it wasn't that much of a jump for us to basically take the immersive approach that we were doing and not limit it to just an exhibit space, if you will, or just a very contained space. But as you guys all know, since you've been here, the event space that we built around this webinar, it feels open. It feels like you can explore into it. And really that space, from a virtual perspective, is limitless. As you guys can see, I don't know if you had the chance to go and visit our show info, our info hall on the other platform, but that content is infinitely expandable and infinitely aestheticized, I guess, is one word. We can put it anywhere. Some of our clients have put their exhibits and events on beaches, on farms, in the clouds. There's really no limit, as the saying goes, the only limit is your imagination. So we've been really loving doing that. And it doesn't just go for trade show booths and trade show events, but stuff like company conferences, virtual showrooms, virtual tours of actual facilities, interior store displays or experiences, where if you have a flagship store, we can recreate that flagship store in a virtual space, and you can invite somebody in to take a look at it before they even buy a plane ticket to actually go and take a look at it. And also stuff like fundraisers, which one of our clients is having a fundraiser right now. The pension boards, they built a live event that's really geared toward raising funds for their ministry. So with that, what we've been trying to consider is how virtual experiences will play into the physical events. As I was saying, we just couldn't be more thrilled that the physical live face-to-face event is starting to emerge, and we're loving how busy we are with hearing the shop roaring again with the custom exhibits and that kind of thing. But we are also hearing from our clients that they've gonna integrate their virtual experiences to augment and to supplement their physical presence as well. Stuff like folks who can't get to the show floor, or if there's limited capacity, why limit to only the people that can visit in person? It could run from the same time. It can run from your physical exhibit. So you could essentially, like one of our clients, we did a replication of their physical exhibit in a virtual space. So there's a sort of a cohesion between an aesthetic cohesion between folks who are at the show floor and folks who are unable to get to the show floor or visit the booth before they get to the show. So from a marketing perspective, you could say, hey, are you in town to visit? Are you in town for the such and such show? Take a sneak peek at our exhibit by visiting us virtually, and you can do things virtually, just as you can't do things. You'll never get that handshake, or you won't be able to get that tactile sense of space in a virtual space. On the other hand, you will have really ease of content access from a virtual space, where at the click of a button, or right at your fingertips, you have a whole library of PDF information, videos, things that are a little bit more difficult to draw attention to in the physical space. So from an experiential standpoint, they complement one another as far as I can see, and that's the way that I and my team have been thinking about approaching it from a design perspective. You know, and it can integrate all of the things that are in your physical exhibit, like AV, motion graphics, forms to fill out, lead capture, all of that kind of thing. You know, it's really exciting and it's really challenging and really rewarding to think about that. You know, what happened after the past year, think that the industry, when all is said and done and as things get back to normal, you know, there's that cliche, it's going to be a new normal. And what we've gained in one respect is, you know, obviously the value, realizing how valuable and how much we miss actually seeing each other face to face. But we're also able to expand on our notion of what events mean and what special events and can be. So with that, I know that we're kind of winding down on our webinar. I'm going to pass it back to Diana, and I think she's going to open up questions. And if anybody has any questions about virtual, I will be happy to answer those as best I can. Again, thank you everybody for coming out, and look forward to seeing you on the show floor.